Thanks for your patience with that, guys. So that's where we are. 88 homes completed, 32 under construction at the moment, 35 in design, and currently 32 available for sale. Now, that amount of success in a relatively short period of time has all been possible basically because of the local market conditions. So the Dunedin population is currently sitting at around about 132,000, and pretty much around about 2014, after a decade or two of close to stagnation, our population started growing at a rate of about 1,500 people per year, and that's sort of forecast to carry on over the next decade. So in the last decade, we've seen pretty much a 10% growth in our population. And so all of this has put a lot of pressure on our housing prices, and it's actually pushed Dunedin to be the third most unaffordable major centre in the country, which is quite fascinating. So just to give you an idea about where that leaves us as a city at the moment, the DCC currently expect that we've got a shortage of around about 1,500 homes in the city right now. Now that there is, it's skewed slightly more towards lower socioeconomic homes and social housing. There's currently 430 households on the social housing waiting list in Dunedin. But as well, the problem in Dunedin is that is right across the spectrum. You know, we've got high-end homes, mid-range homes, and low socioeconomic homes, all of very, very poor quality, and that we need more right across the board. So to keep pace with population growth, we need to be building around about 500 to 600 homes a year. Now, none of the property brokers people are allowed to answer this, especially you, Judd, but fun fact, who knows how many homes are built in Dunedin a year on average? Any ideas? There's a bottle of wine in it for the winner. No, it's less than 500, more than 250. 350. You're the closest. 385 on average. There you go, mate. So you've got a situation where basically we're building close to half of what we actually need to be building as a city. So that's why what's one of the reasons why you're starting to see continued upward pressure on rents and continued upward pressure on prices. Now, as well, to add fuel to the fire, it's really hard to quantify this, but around 20% of Dunedin has the oldest average age of housing stock in the country, with around 20% of the homes being built pre-1920. Now, they all need, heavily renovated, or preferably, in my case, demolished and replaced. So it's hard to quantify what the pressure that's going to have, but it is there in the market as well. Now, there's a lot of sort of constraints in Dunedin, which is why we're only building around about half the homes that we need to build. One being topography. Obviously, we've got a lot of hills, which create issues for putting in infrastructure, pumping, your water and power. As well, because of the age of our city, we're actually quite cursed in a way by having very, very small lot sizes. So as a developer, for us to go in and take a development on, typically we need to be doing, over 4 or 5 homes on a lot. And a lot of our land down in sort of your flatter areas is already split up into sort of 400 or 500 square metre lots, which makes it uneconomic for developers to go in there and develop. And then as well, we've got lots of natural hazard areas. We all know about South Dunedin, the flood risk issues there. At the moment, the DCC say they're working on a plan there, but at the moment, we don't invest down there. We don't invest in any flood risk areas because we don't really have faith at the moment that there's a solution that isn't going to result in lower property prices in those areas. And then we all have the same, pretty similar sort of issues around the country. We've got a large infrastructure deficit in this country, Dunedin in particular. And we also have a lot of historic building guidelines as well, which just make it harder to develop in the city. And then we've got contractor capacity. We are a small centre at the end of the day. If somebody just come and turned on the light switch tomorrow and said, oh yes, we're going to start building 600 homes, we literally wouldn't have the workers to do it. So a few significant constraints in Dunedin. Now, what that all means is that you're going to see continued upward pressure in my mind, on rents and basically property prices in Dunedin. So what we're doing at TGC Homes, like I said, we want to be in every section of the market in Dunedin because we love the city, we think it's got a lot to offer, but we do need to do better at all of the different elements. So at the moment, what we're currently building, we have some social housing initiatives that we've worked on. We've delivered 2 developments. We've got another one currently underway. We do a lot of first home buy and sort of investor stock, which is your standard sort of 2 bedrooms and either 1 or 2 bathrooms, either with a garage or a separate car park. And we have as well been tapping into the sort of mid to high-end townhouses. We've got a development in St Clair at the moment and one in Māori Hill as well. So that's where we're currently operating. And then we want to basically get into the student accommodation area as well. The only real constraint there, again, is just finding land. Very difficult in that part of town. We will do some standalone dwellings as well once the market and affordability improves. And as well, Dunedin is a rural service town at the end of the day, so we will do some lifestyle sections for people that just want a bit more space. So just as a few examples of what we have been bringing to market, this is our Cannington Road development, which is up at the end of the John McGlashan football pitch. They're all 3 bedroom homes, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom with a garage. One of them has a double car garage, all the rest are just a large single. And they start at 1.25 million. We've sold the first 2 of those. We're under construction there and there's just one left. Grant Street, we just released these for sale there about 10 days ago. These here are really, really unique product for the Dunedin market. And the reason why I say that is about what I mentioned earlier on about the heritage rules in and around the city. Well, this here is actually it's close to the CBD. It's about 800 metres away from the CBD. And in that area, there's a heritage overlay, which does make it hard to develop. Usually, we as developers wouldn't target that area, but the home that came up for sale already had resource consent to remove the existing dwelling. So that was why we did that. So it's really, really unique to get brand new homes 800 metres to the CBD in Dunedin. So that's really exciting. And they start from 669. They are all 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom homes. These ones at the front here, they all have garaging, and then these ones 3 to 11 at the back all just have a standalone car park. And then last but not least, we have our Dundonald Street development. This here is over in Tainui, up on the rise, so again, out of all the flood risk areas, and it gets phenomenal views up there. These homes at the back are all designed, they're upside down homes, so you've got kitchen, dining, living on the top floor, really to take in the views over the Chisholm Links golf course and out to the beach. So try to have, again, just really trying to drive home the factor that we've got, lots of different products on the market. Now, I'm a numbers man as well myself, so I thought we'll just do a quick case study on what it looks like to be buying an investment property right now. Now, this is a really, really basic cash flow about if you're buying right now with your different levels of deposit, 40% deposit, 20% deposit, 10% deposit. Now, as you can see, and we all know at the moment with our high interest rates of 6.79%, that from a cash flow perspective, it hurts a little bit at the moment. So you're looking, depending on your deposit levels there, you are looking at $83 a week, right up to $365 a week. It's going to cost you to hold that property. We are expecting rates to come down. How far they come down, we're not quite sure. But the long-term average for interest rates is typically around sort of 4.5% to 5.5%. So you'll see that affordability improve dramatically over the coming years. But we all know property is there. To make money in property, you need to be in there for a long time, right? That was how we started. We started wanting to hold everything because over time, your returns improve. So whilst it might be a little bit bleak from a cash flow perspective right now, there are still good returns to be made in the city. So this here is, again, same example. So $625,000 property, that's a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom property. And now, I don't have another bottle of wine, but Judd knows the answer to this one. Since 2020, does anyone want to have a guess what the average rate of house price increase is in Dunedin? So the last two and a bit decades? No one?
Per annum or?
Sorry?
Per annum?
Yes.
15%?
A little bit rich. No, it's ranged between 6.5% and 8.5%, depending on your suburb. Yeah, and so What I've done here is I've taken a conservative approach because the current government has said that they do want to improve house price affordability. So I've taken a 4% growth rate of your home over 5 years. And you can see there, so that your capital gain over 5 years on that property is $106,000. So depending on your different levels of deposit, you're still looking at an 8% tax paid, 17% or 34% gain return on your investment. So there's still good money. Now what that looks like when we go a little bit further out to 10 years is, again, your capital gain here out to $265,000, giving you an 11% return at 40% deposit, 21% return, and 42% at 10%. So really just trying to drive home the point that it is time in the market where you make your money. And there's never been a better buyer market than there is right now. This man is a man I take a lot of wisdom from, Warren Buffett. One of my favourite quotes from him is, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." It's you've got a lot of negative news out there at the moment. All the media is talking recession, it's talking job losses, it's talking whatever. There's plenty of crises going on. To me, that's a perfect time to be buying. We as a company, we're buying as much land as we can at the moment because all we see is positive upswing in the Dunedin property market. So I won't rattle on for too much longer. That's really us in a nutshell. We of course do have plenty of homes available for sale at the moment. We've got some information over in the back corner over there. If you want to hear more, please jot your name and email address down on the information sheet. But Tom, Amy and myself will be hanging around later on as well if you've got any questions about our developments. You can find us at www.tgc.nz or my contact details are there or at the back. So that's about it from me. Thank you.